Today you have two IXLs to do. The first one is N.3, proving a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. For this section, remember that you have 5 ways to prove that things are parallelogram. They come from section 6.3. Remember, they're not exactly the same as what was in on the front of your sheet that we recorded. Remember, there's 5 of them. Both pairs of opposite sides must be parallel, or both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. And you have to have both of them, like this here. You got to be able to figure out the missing one. So this here would be a no. Let's see what we get next. Same thing, this would be a no. This here, though, you have them where these add to 180, these add to 180. The missing one here would also have to be a 65, so that's a yes. Okay. Other things would be like this, where diagonals bisect each other. That's number 4. So this would be a yes. This would be a no, because they're all on the same side here as you go through it. This here would be yes. The one here that I'm not seeing come up is where that you have one pair that is parallel and congruent. This would be an example that is looking at one pair of opposite sides is parallel and congruent. However, though, this is still a no, because they have to be the same number to be congruent. So they're parallel and they have numbers, but they're not congruent. So this is still a no. This is IXL N.9, proofs involving quadrilaterals, section 1. These are just like proofs you've done before when you create them into 2 columns. Anytime they give you something in words up here, or even if they just mark it in the picture, okay, those are going to be your givens. You're always going to start out with your givens. Whenever you have parallel, remember to look for things like alternate interior angles. Here, when they have reflexive, when you have to choose this for yourself, whenever there's congruency between the 2 things here, then it's going to be of congruency. Be careful that you don't select of equality. That would be if there was an equal sign in between here, and I don't think that happens on anything that you guys are doing today. Whenever you have 2 triangles being congruent, it's going to be one of our 5 that we studied, that we went through and did. But you got to be able to look at it and see which one it is. Now, in order to do that, you're going to have to visualize and look at what you have marked. You have S, T, and QR. So you have the top and the bottom marked here. And if it helps you, copy the picture and then mark it, because you can't write on your computer screen. So here and here, the top and the bottom are marked. Okay, we have alternate interior angles with QST. That's this angle right here. And RQS, that's right here. So we got the top, the bottom, the angle by the S here, and the angle by the Q here that are marked. And then we have QS down the middle marked. That's a side, an angle here, and a side. So that's going to be side, angle, side. So you select that from your list. So you really got to look at what's marked in the picture. Now, remember, anytime after you have 2 triangles being congruent, side, 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 angle, side, whatever the reason here, if it says 2 triangles being congruent and it continues on and does something else, for you guys, it's always that because the parts match up, which is your CPCT. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So the reason why QT ends up being the same as RS here is because the triangles are congruent and those letters match up. See how Q and T over here, the middle and the last, matches up with R and S, the middle and the last here. Towards the end of doing this section, when you're getting up higher in your score, you're going to be typing in some of the spots of what is missing. Be careful when you're typing it in. It may have a spot for, say, line 5 or line 6, and you type that in. There's a little button that appears down in the corner where you have to add a line. So be careful, make sure that you are actually finished with your proof, and the proof statement is at the bottom when you get to those problems before you hit submit, and that you're done.